Good day, everyone. Welcome back for the third episode of our podcast, Usapang Arkinalians, the Architectural Literacy. Muli na naman kami nagbabalik, pero ngayon ay may bagong pakulo. Once again, I am Luis Pasco.
I am Mark Tadle.
I'm Pearl Hipolito.
I am Jonah Cortez, and we are back again to share our thoughts and insights with you guys. Currently, wala ngayon si Julia due to personal reasons. Pero we made sure that may babahagi namin yung insights niya so that we can share it with you guys.
Hi everyone. It's been a while, mga Arkinalians. Bago tayo magsimula, meron ba sa inyo ang may idea sa magiging topic natin ngayon?
Oo naman, boy. Ang magiging topic natin ngayon ay Balinese Architecture.
Tama ka dyan. Kaya't halina at alamin natin kung ano ba ang konsepto ng Balinese architecture at kung paano ito nag-evolve mula sa traditional nitong disenyo at konsepto hanggang sa kasalukuyan.
For today's podcast, pag-uusapan natin ang reading na mula kila Ronald Sitinjak, Wardani at Poppy Nilasari, entitled Traditional Balinese Architecture from Cosmic to Modern. Before we start, let us first give credits to our professor, Architect Sam Ranyosa, for the great topic and material given to us.
Yes, so guys, simulan na natin yung usapan sa what did you feel after reading the paper on traditional Balinese architecture from cosmic to modern?
I find the reading really informative and somehow gave me a new perspective about Balinese architecture. Madami akong natutunan katulad kung paano nila dinidifferentiate yung traditional Balinese architecture from what it's now in the modern world. Dito sinabi nila na traditional Balinese architecture considered the aspect of spiritual value of Balinese Hinduism and were influenced by community systems such as community structure where there is a different spatial planning and architectural decoration based on hierarchy, culture, religion, buildings, and decorations, as well as climate, natural conditions, and environmental social life. That leads to its very own identity in architecture. However, due to the transition of the world to modernism as well as with the high tourist valley of Bali, the building design no longer orients towards the traditional or cosmic factors, but towards developing in the interest of tourism, commercialization, and lifestyle. For Julia's perspective, the traditional Balinese architecture has altered owing to the impact of contemporary culture and tourists. This shift, however, has resulted in the development of the distinct Bali style, which is currently in high demand internationally as a contemporary architectural and interior design style. Although this creates commercial prospects, it is critical to carefully assess the suitability of the Balinese style in various climate conditions in order to retain its favorable image.
For me, I feel amazed by the reading, especially in the long process of Balinese experience in comprehending both the natural environment and the social environment they daily live in resulted in traditional Balinese architecture. And Balinese Hinduism spiritual principles were significantly influenced by local social structures such as societal organization, culture, religion, and architectural design.
Sa akin I'm surprised by the readings on traditional Balinese architecture from cosmic to modern. Because in terms of tourism and designing, this style of architecture has a significant impact in tourism. Local or foreign visitors typically want to unwind, relax, and experience the environment and culture of the country. And if traders analyze it in the context of a long-term business in the nation, It a it is a huge investment return.
Yes, so ako naman, when I read the article tungkol sa traditional Balinese architecture, sa pakiramdam ko, ako ay binabalik sa dating panahon bilang yung style and approach ng mga structure ay talagang pinag-isipan. Since yung mga details sa mga buildings niya ay handmade from skilled craftsmen, mula sa edge ng roof to the different designs ng doors, at kasama rin dito yung iba't ibang style ng kung paano sila mag-build ng buong structure as a whole. It is really breathtaking. Bilang wala pang mga instrument and different gadget dati, I had this awe-inspiring feeling that reminds me of how they are really determined, the way architect build every structure sa Balinese. Sa pagbago naman ng panahon, sila rin ay sumabay. One of the reasons they changed it is because of the tourism's interests. Nag-iba na because of what people's perspective is, and that is all for me.
Ngayon na alam na natin how you feel, gusto ko naman malaman kung what do you like about the reading?
For me, gusto ko yung how their design considers the necessary to maintain the balance between human life and its natural environment. Therefore, they always consider aspect of climate, natural conditions, and social life in the arrangement of yards, spatial patterns, construction structures, and selection of building materials by utilizing available materials in Bali in accordance with the condition of the existing infrastructure.
Sa akin naman, the artistry of the ornamentations, kinds of columns, doors, roofing designs, and wall design finishes is what I appreciated the most about Balinese architecture.
And yung nagustuhan ko naman is their architectural style in Balinese establishments na may particular design silang sinusunod. According to the readings, Balinese people have traditionally been accustomed to working together in all respects, including in constructing their buildings, and the result of the architecture are homogeneous. Meaning, magkakaparehas sila. Isang halimbawa nito is yung traditional village of Pengliparan, Bali. And here's what I like about their architectural style as time passes. Since Balinese architecture is shifting nga, that happened na nag-iba na kung ano yung perspective ng bawat tao. Dito na papasok yung tinatawag nilang Parsons Structural Functional Theory, in which ang pag-iba ng isang part ng social structure will also affect other factors of the structure, which will ultimately affect the overall condition of the social structural system. Nakuha ba? So, ayan, as they go along with it, mas nakilala ito globally from the tourism and lifestyle ng mga nakatira roon. It is a win-win situation for both. For tourism, hindi mahirap mag-travel around. And for the Balinese people naman, this is where the excellent economy comes in. They still manage to create beautiful and pleasing designs and are determined to develop every structure made that is still undeniably beautiful. Given these points, this procedure allows Balinese architecture to exist in modern times, pero hindi nawawala yung mga traditional values.
Para sa akin naman, I like and got interested sa traditional Balinese concept because they give emphasis on the balance between man, God, and nature. Depicted as a microcosm, Wana Alit or small world is man is expected to exist in his natural environment in a way which conforms to the macrocosmic order of things. Wana Agung or larger world. There is also the concept in planning called Trimandala, which conveys three areas. First is the Nista. Nista is an area for the dirty aspect or real or abstract. And Mandala, a neutral area located between south and north side. And Utama is the holy area located on the northeastern side. Sinasabi din na traditional Balinese house consists of 9 buildings which have different functions. Those buildings are Sangha or Merahan. It is a shrine dedicated for praying. Metan or Baledaha is a building naman for the oldest family members. And Balidao is building for all family members located at the west side of the house. Balidangin is an open-air building located on the east side, and Sakeenem is a building for guests. Jineng or Lumbung is a rice barn. Paon is a kitchen located on the south side. Angkul is a gate where guardians statues are located. And Aling-aling is a house yard. Dito pa lang makikita na natin na hindi lang sila basta-basta nagpaplano. Marami silang consideration that keeps their architecture very unique from the others. Next question na din natin naman is, and I am really curious about sa opinion nyo dito. Do you guys agree on the idea where Balinese architecture should stay on the cosmic realm or rather adapt to the influence of modern culture? Why and why not?
So for Julia, the idea of whether Balinese architecture should stay in the cosmic realm or adapt to the influence of modern culture is subjective and depends on personal perspective and beliefs. Some may argue that preserving the traditional cosmic-oriented aspects of Balinese architecture is important for preserving cultural heritage and identity. Others may argue that adapting to modern influences and incorporating elements of contemporary design is necessary for staying relevant and appealing to modern audiences. Ultimately, the Balinese people have shown a tendency to maintain traditional religious rules as a foundation for traditional buildings, while embracing modern influences for non-traditional buildings. This balance between preserving tradition and adapting to modern influence has helped create the unique and desirable Bali style of architecture. The most likely idea may be continue this balance, while also creating guidelines to ensure the appropriate implementation of the Bali style in both traditional and modern buildings.
For me, I don't agree because in line with the times and modernization, the development of traditional Balinese architecture also began to be influenced by aspects of modernization, such as building function that emphasize the aspect of effectiveness, efficiency, and comfort, while the demand of modern society adding to the color of the traditional Balinese architecture that is currently developing. This development give rise contradictory conditions in the ability of traditional Balinese architects who have been accustomed to the dimension of traditional rules, yet to have accommodate the development of modern architecture with this modern dimension.
Ako naman, I also disagree that Balinese architecture should always be traditional. But however, I also disagree as to when and why it will be done away with. Because the traditional architecture, Balinese architecture style serves as the basis for these styles, ornamentations, and craftsmanships. We must embrace modernity in a different way because Balinese architecture built in the traditional manner won't last forever. So I think it is better to employ the traditional Balinese architecture style in a modern architectural approach.
And yeah, for me, ayon nga kay Julia, this topic is very subjective. Pero yung viewpoints and belief ko naman about whether Balinese architecture should remain traditional or kailangan nilang mag-adapt to the impact of modern architectural style. It is critical to preserve the conventional way characteristic of Balinese architecture to protect cultural history and identity. One of the most appealing aspects of Balinese architecture is its unique blend of traditional and contemporary features, resulting in a distinct style that appeals to a wide range of people. Para sa akin, kailangan nilang i-balance yung tradition and modernity. Since Bali lives in a balanced architectural style from traditional architecture at sa modern living facilities, for me, they should continue building different structure this way and this manner. And what about you, Jonah?
I agree with Luis and Julia. Both should consider and balance out traditional and modern design and planning. Though, sa pananaw ko, mas maganda na i-retain yung traditional Balinese architecture due to its purity in its essence, pero kailangan pa rin ito tulad ng tao na mag-evolve to continually improve and adapt to changes of the world. Kahit ayaw natin, meron at meron pa ring magbabago, lalo na kung yung changes na to comes from our natural environment. It is better to combine the traditional Balinese architecture and modernism. This will also allow us to explore and learn new discoveries in integrating two different architecture styles that still carries the root of its identity.
Ako naman, ang tanong ko ay, sa tingin nyo, what describes Balinese architecture as it evolves to what it is now? Kasi para sa akin, it's described as a journey. Because from its journey, Bali has developed its own attraction by combining traditional architecture with the needs of modern living facilities. The development of architecture and interior design has been accelerating lately because it is driven by tourism, which requires the presence of a Balinese identity as a selling power and is driven by the availability of various types of material from Western cultural works.
For me naman, because of its distinctive architectural style, which is advancing in value toward modernity and becoming fashionable and new to visit by both domestic and international tourists, I classify Balinese architecture as a goal.
Sa akin naman, the Balinese architecture is like a caterpillar that evolves over time into a beautiful butterfly. From a cosmic culture that is focused to its traditional concept, it starts to open up, explore, and focus to the function that would help to boost their economic gains through tourism and commercialization. It evolves and follow modernity but still remain intact to the traditional Bali style.
And sa opinion ko naman, masasabi nating umuunlad ang isang lugar kapag ito ay may kakayahang makapag-innovate and when it can be creative by provoking different and new architectural styles. It has departed from its original cosmic focus in favor of a more contemporary while preserving specific classic components and religions since they are utterly devoted to God nga. Masasabi natin na ang Balinese architecture ay nag-develop base sa attractive tourist destination. Since ang Bali nga ay may famous tourist destination, both its traditional and modern aspect in its architecture, the Balinese architecture style is considered captivating and a source of a pride for the Balinese that will result in prospects for the businesses.
For our second half, we would like to tackle Balinese architecture adapted on the Philippine setup.
Wait lang, bago natin sagutin yan, niyayahan muna natin ang lahat para mapanood ang inihanda nating special segment.
Tama ka dyan, Louis. What better way to understand Balinese architecture in the Philippines is to experience it firsthand. We went to Sinchay Corritos Garden in Batangas, where we got the chance to explore and somehow grasp the essence and ambience of the place even without going to Bali for now.
Hello everyone! Welcome to our Usapang Arkinalians special segment. It's been a while everyone since our second episode, so ngayon mas gusto nating i-upgrade ang ating knowledge and understanding through experiencing how Balinese architecture design style adapts Philippine setup.
And as we explore the tourism of the Philippines, we discover that there is a place in our country that resembles the architectural style of the Balinese architecture. Unbelievable? I think not. Come and join us in exploring the Balinese architecture in Sinchay Corritos Garden.
chance by Ma'am Jeline Tashley to have a short interview to get to know more about Sintay Coritos. Hi, Ma'am Jeline.
So ma'am, let's start po our question here. Number one, saan po nakuha yung name na Shintay Kuri?
So, Chintay Coritos Garden. So, Chintay is a Bali word, and then ang meaning niya is love. And then the Corito is the name of the owner and garden. Ayun. So, ang meaning niya in English is Love Coritos Garden.
So, bakit po napili na maging design inspiration ng Chintay Corito yung Balinese architecture?
Bale, ito yung history niya kung bakit napili yung Bali, Indonesia. So, Miss Corito and husband, they love to travel around the world, and their favorite is Bali, Indonesia. So, nung na-diagnose si Ma'am Corito, the owner ng illness or cancer, nag-decide yung asawa na mag-put na lang ng garden and Bali inspired dito. So, dinala niya yung Bali. Ganun niya ka-love yung asawa niya. Dinala niya yung Bali from Indonesia to Pinas para ma-relax yung asawa niya. So, that's the reason kung bakit Bali inspired resort.
Ma'am, sino po yung owner and architect ng Sintay Corito po?
Bali, for the owner, we cannot disclose kasi the name of the owner. But as of now, we are under Paramount and Bike Hotel. So, we are managed by Paramount and Bike Hotel. So, yung owner, sila yung nag-conceptualize kasi talaga nung resort. So, yung architect din, is sila na rin ang nag-isip kung paano yung design and anything. Ayun. So, family pa rin. But as of now, we are managed by Paramount.
Question number 4 po natin is, gaano po kalaki ang property ng Shintay Kuri?
Good question. So, ang Chintay Coritos Garden, bali siya ay 7-hectare resort, but the develop is 5. So, as of now, we are developing some areas pa. But due to pandemic, we stop kasi muna. But for the future, ayusin namin na lahat pa-develop na yung 7 hectares. So, 7 hectares yung resort natin.
Ano ko na lang dito, ano po yung na-experience mo na struggle mo na ba yung lalo na po yung ina-achieve natin yung design ko?
So, the struggle, kasi sloping area siya eh. So, pababa siya. So, ang pinakamahirap dito is yung mag-carve. Kung makikita niyo yung mga architectures natin, yung sa carving, talagang handmade siya. And then, yung pagbababa ng gamit like beds, kasi we are hotel and resort kasi. So, yung mga beds kasi natin, yung pinakita ko earlier, is medyo mabibigat. So, yun lang naman yung naging struggle. But then again, at the end of the day, ayun, naayos din naman yung rooms and villas and anything.
Question number 6 po. Was the chosen design style po work in terms of marketing po?
So, sobrang malaking impact yung architecture design ng Chintay all over the Philippines. Kahit nga mga foreigners, pinupunta at dinadayo yung Chintay. Why? Kasi sa Philippines, kukunti lang yung Bali-inspired na resort. So, sobrang worth it siya when it comes to marketing kasi Instagrammable din kasi yung lugar. And then kakaiba. Kasi inspired siya sa Bali. So, kakaiba talaga yung Chintay. So, sa marketing, okay na okay siya. Ayun.
That is nice po. Aside naman po sa marketing, for our final question po, in terms of maintenance cost, what's the use of the architecture design is worth it po?
For that question, oo naman, nagkaka-return of investment kami. At kumikita naman talaga yung resort. Kasi maganda. The place is beautiful. So, nakita nyo rin naman kanina na kinala ko kasi. Na ipinur ko kayo. Maganda talaga. Sabi nga kanina ni Miss Julia na humingi siya ng rates for like, ipapakita nyo to sa mga classes niya. Diba? That's marketing na kaagad yun. So, word of mouth na kaagad yun. So, in terms of maintenance cost, makaka-return of investment na kumikita.
So, ayun guys, we heard it from Ma'am Jeline. In behalf of our team, we would like to express our gratitude for letting us explore the area and assisting us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you kasi nakarating kayo dito from north to south. Ayun.
So that's it for a special segment to our next adventure in our Usapang Arkinalians. Back to our podcast, guys! Bye!
Cringe. Anyway, balik na tayo sa question natin kanina. What is the important knowledge that is revealed in the materials that can be compared to or used in the Philippine context. Simulan ko na. The important knowledge revealed in the materials that can use in the Philippine context is that we can also consider aspects of climate and natural condition as well as environmental social life. This is to obtain a balance between human and its natural environment.
For me naman, the important knowledge revealed was that Balinese architecture is a vernacular style of architecture in which designers use local materials to build buildings, structures, and houses while also reflecting local tradition. Balinese architecture has a distinct characteristic of traditional aesthetic principles, using the island's Asian culture and artistry in every design element of a structure.
Yeah, for me, Balinese people have adapted to changing environments by combining traditional architecture with contemporary living, resulting that they can create distinctive and appealing buildings. The Balinese architectural style has become a global product and a source of income. This data may be compared and applied to the Philippine type of architecture. Sa bansa po natin, katulad ng Bali, meron itong distinct traditional architecture na nadala natin sa modern society. The Philippine may benefit from the Balinese experience of blending tradition and modernity in architecture, while protecting and promoting the country's distinct cultural character. Isang halimbawa nito yung mga traditional houses and temples sa Bali. It is all preserved and hanggang ngayon nakatayo pa rin sila. Katulad ng sa Pilipinas, meron tayong iba't ibang churches and also traditional houses na dumaan man yung iba sa renovation to preserve the history and yung story behind ng structure. To this day, the building that were built back then are still standing. That the type of Philippine architecture was inspired by its environment, from the culture, and also to the religion. Kasama na rin dito yung environmental conditions natin and kung paano i-establish yung iba't ibang design rules incorporating yung creativeness features both ng mga Pinoy and Bali peeps. Gaya ng sabi ko kanina, this procedure allows Balinese architecture to exist in modern times pero hindi nawawala yung mga traditional values na nakikita ko rin sa bansa natin.
Yeah, so para sa akin naman, Bali and Philippines have a lot of similarities. They both are tropical country. They have almost the same locally available materials and topography. They both have a diverse and rich culture, history, norms, and beliefs on their own. At dahil dito, naging bentahe nila ito lalo na sa larangan ng turismo. Katulad ng binisita namin sa Sinsya rito, kayang ma-adapt yung Balinese architectural design style sa ibang bansa. Unti-unting nag-i-invest for development sa mga bansang ito. Though it's economically beneficial, we are somehow forced to adapt to the modern changes in planning and design to be commercially valuable. Though it has positive outcomes, there are also negative impact, lalo na sa traditional value of those people living in the place.
Ngayon naman, gusto ko naman malaman, going and experiencing the actual place where Balinese architecture design style was adopted in the Philippines, what was your takeaway, thought, or realization? Mauna na ako Visiting and experiencing the actual location where the Balinese architecture design style was adopted, Shintay Corritos Garden in Batangas, made me feel wonderful about how we could apply our design styles in nature and connect it and design it as if a part of the nature.
For Julia, by merging its traditional components such as the use of wooden materials and thatch roofs, as well as elaborate carvings and sculptures into contemporary construction, the Balinese architectural design style may be replicated in the Philippines. This is possible while still taking into account the Philippine climate and culture. A unique fusion of Balinese and Philippines components can be created by adapting Balinese architecture to include elements of the local culture and history. It can be require to seek the advice of regional architects, designers, and cultural authorities to make sure the modification is carried out in a way that is both authentic and suitable. For me naman, the Balinese inspired statues, buildings, and well-kept gardens in Yintay Coritos make me completely forget that I'm in the Philippines.
Yeah, for me, Philippine architecture may take off the Balinese architectural design style by incorporating traditional elements such as wooden structures, intricate carvings, and sculptures. This is achievable while keeping the people forming a unique band of Balinese and Philippine components by modifying Balinese architecture to integrate local culture and historical themes na nakikita ko rin sa atin. Iba pa rin talaga yung ma-experience mo yung place comparing in online researching. As we wander around the place, every spot talaga I am mesmerized. Kitang-kita sa place yung dedication ng gumawa ng mga intricate details sa mga structures as well as on how they really explore and inaral kung paano buuin yung buong lugar lalo na at yung place ay pa-slope siya. Kasi for me, ayun yung may pinakamahirap iplano talaga comparing sa lahat na isang diretso lang. Kudos po sa kanila, mapapasabi po talaga tayo ng #ProudPinoy.
Tama ka diyan. Sa'kin naman, reading and understanding the paper as well as going to Sinchay Corito made me think that it is good to adapt other architectural style because it has a lot of advantage tulad nga ng sabi ni La Art, Julia, Pearl, and Luis. Most especially to those people who wish to experience Bali but cannot go on the actual place. It is also a good business to earn money and such, but I had also thought na with this kind of changes tulad dito sa Pilipinas, mas tatangkilikin natin yung architectural style nga ng ibang bansa. Mas naiengganyo tayo to go to places where adaptation of this country was incorporated in the design. We slowly forget our very own architectural style. Though buhay pa rin naman siya, pero hindi siya evident in most places. Halo-halo na kumbaga yung iba't ibang architectural style na nakuha natin dahil nga sa siguro na-colonize tayo or even just because gusto natin gayahin yung specific design style ng ibang bansa. And that for me gave a lot of thinking up until now. What will happen to us if this kind of thinking continues?
Oo, ayan. So, I agree with you diyan na parang nagbago na tuloy yung opinion ko. So, before we end our podcast, let me give you our last question. As a country with a rich and diverse history and culture like Balinese architecture, what is your opinion naman in terms of our current architectural identity? So, para sa akin kasi, our architectural styles were now comprehensive na. Back then, Philippine architecture faced obstacles that hindered us from keeping up with the modern world, especially when our technology could be more advanced sana to create faster work. That end up, now we came up with a thought imaginatively and devised a new architectural strategy. Napansin ko sa Philippine architecture na we provide hardship sa bawat trabahong ginagawa natin, making our work effective and contemporary, which will surely last time as which is surely as time passes. As I said earlier, our architectural style is now broad and comprehensive. Na what I like about Philippine architecture, that we are still open to discovering sa pag-explore and sa pag-develop ng bawat structure sa lugar natin. Na hanggang ngayon, mabago man yung architecture style na nag-e-exist in modern times, kita pa rin na hindi nawawala yung mga traditional values na nakikita ko sa ating bansa.
Para sa akin, Bali remains to be one of the most popular tropical destinations for tourists in the Philippines. It is a fitting residence for the Supreme Being and it follows that its stunning scenery provide the ideal setting for a special and profoundly spiritual experience that draws visitors from all over the world. However, there is a difference in the architecture identity of Balinese and Philippines architecture.
We must adapt how our country feels because we cannot call it a home if it is not comfortable to live in. We can design modern architectural styles, but modern style necessitate modern solutions that do not harm nature. So instead, it's helping us. As aspiring architects, we must study and research this design problem and provide a solution within it. Because architecture is based not only on structural design principles, but also on the analysis of the problem with.
Hmm, sa'kin naman tulad ng sabi ko kanina nga, madami tayong masyadong kino-consider in terms of economic gain, as well as personal preferences in terms of architectural design style na i-incorporate natin sa building natin. In my own opinion, Philippine architecture is still alive and many architects are continually protecting it and incorporating it to their design through though we are colonized country before kaya madami tayong architectural design style na present sa iba't ibang lugar. I hope mas mabigyan pansin or emphasis yung architectural roots natin.
Yes, for Julia's point of view naman, the Philippines' contemporary architectural identity is a mashup of indigenous, Spanish colonial, American colonial, and modern elements. Indigenous architecture is distinguished by the use of natural materials for house construction, such as bamboo, nipa palm, and cogon grass, whereas Spanish colonial architecture can be found in the country's churches, government buildings, and wealthy homes, which feature stone and brick construction, high walls, and red clay roof tiles. The use of wood, tin roof, and vast verandas characterizes American colonial architecture, which may also be found in the country's cities and towns. In the Philippines, modern architecture has taken components from older styles and mixed them with current designs, resulting in a distinct combination of traditional and contemporary characteristics.
To wrap it up, modern culture shaped Balinese architecture. It was modernized while preserving certain traditional aspects and religious regulations. Balinese architecture is popular worldwide, especially in the tourism sector. Due to its unique blend of traditional and modern design, Balinese architecture has offered commercial possibilities and marketed Bali as a destination by merging heritages and modernity.
To maintain Balinese architecture, endurance, and suitability in many climates and settings, its development must be carefully regulated. Architects and interior designers must establish a design implementation guidelines that integrates aesthetic, comfort, technology, and spirituality. This will assist develop globally standard public facilities that are proud of their Bali style character in the globalized world.
So, guys, I guess that would conclude our podcast for today. I hope that everyone enjoyed and somehow learned from our discussion about Balinese architecture. Stay tuned for our next episode. Once again, thank you for listening to the Usapang Arkinalians, the architecture literacy.
And if you enjoyed this episode, you can give us a heart and a thumbs up. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you!
Thank you.